Definitely very interesting. Hope you enjoyed this one. This is Solomon Ads game, on Bleach chapter 631, Friend. Now this whole episode is basically a flat. Most of it was flashback, basically. Oh, the whole thing was basically flashback after the first cover. We get to see the history of both Hoshwalt and Basby. Apparently, they knew each other as young boys. From what I saw, Hoshwalt, he was always he looked like he's the shy type, like like very sure, very like low confidence and basically a very stiff. Not like the guy that we see, confident, hearted, they're like willing to take orders from Juhabak and who stands by Juhabak's side as basically one of his right hand lieutenants. Yes. Basically, he went from him to guy that's not afraid to kick your ass. I don't know, because of what happened with your watch. But let me continue. Continue. Basically, like right now, you see now Basby and your now Basby and Hoshwald like basically yes they were children and but it seems that as a young age, Hoshwell had no talent at all with his Quincy powers. You could point, you could create the arrow, you could point, but you couldn't shoot. Like you could shoot, but you couldn't exactly hit it. And Basby was like basically a better marksman than him, even taking pity on him. I mean, when they were hunting for food, he gave him the food to eat. Apparently, he lived with his uncle. While Basby he lived on his own in some kind of village. But apparently things didn't exactly go so well for men. They even though they kind of hit when they hit it off, they were both kind of like polar opposite. But Basby kind of took pity on him. And it's kind of unique to see these characters from this point of view. Because we're seeing Stern Ritter against Stern Ritter, which is not something we expected, but they definitely knew it was coming from the earlier chapters. If you guys have read them, if you guys haven't read them, then go read them. Trust me. They like betrayal is an ugly thing to see. Be an ugly thing to see, and definitely. I mean, Basby felt betrayed when your wife recruited him and tried to kill him to use for his own goals. But I'll get into more later. As things progressed, as they got older, they were still very young children. They lived in the same kind of village, and even in the forest. But things got bad. As you watch, he roamed the countryside. He basically came out of nowhere and destroyed the entire village. And it's like basically they were the ones. He was the one that basically ruined their lives. Children. He destroyed their home just to prove a point. Like it proves that your watch, even all the way back then, was willing to do whatever he did necessary to accomplish his goal. But apparently, there were rumors about him being your watch, saying apparently that the watch supposed to be died. He's the father of Quincy. They say he's supposed to be alive for 200 years, like a 200-year-old Quincy. But it kind of makes sense. I mean, since you watch his powers has always been what you call rather stagnant. I mean, his immortality, him being the first Quincy, him being 80 Almighty, and the son of the Soul King, it makes sense that his power has always been, rather limitless. I mean, to destroy an entire town without batting an eye, that kind of makes sense. And and at that moment, it looked like Basby and he and Hoshford, they even made a vow that one day they would seek Eagle Watch out and kill him. And however, things get more interesting. God said he just sacrificing that town was to prove a point because he wanted to create he wants to defeat all of his enemies, including the Soul Society. And said this will mark the beginning of a new army that I will create, and the army will be called Stern Ritters. Well, Stern Ritter, but it makes sense. Like basically, watch. He wanted an army. Do you think he may have went to that town seeking Quincy, like seeking high potential Quincy with strong abilities that he weeded out he destroyed the rest and only leaving the strongest to survive? I mean, think about it. These kids have potential. I mean, think about it. When they grew up, they had badass powers. It makes sense that your watch would test their abilities in such a way that he would leave only these two to survive. Even though they were very young, they had strong skills. They had potential. They had the potential to become strong Quincy's. But the more and more I see, here's the more and more I know that your watch is going to do is willing to do anything, even wipe away a small town off the face of the earth just to accomplish his goal. I mean, he's willing to kill for it. Why not? He's willing to kill as many people as he can. I mean, and that includes Soul Reapers. Why not regular people too? I mean, he even wiped out the souls of his own compatriots, his own servants, to bring back his own elite guard. You know, some of the abilities of the elite guard are what you call Ragnar Stagnant, especially that Sosuke Aizen looking dude that's gonna fight Nidai, who's gonna fight against Green Jiao. That part's still rather stagnant. And anyway, the chapter was basically fast paced, a flashback into the past. The action, it seems that it looks like Basby, he wants to kill your watch, and he's willing to go to Hoshfall to do it, despite their history. I mean, when I see they eventually joined your watch and acknowledged and became a part of his Stern Reader army, but my guessing I think it was probably because of something that your watch either made them did, or they did it by themselves to get close to your watch. I don't know what it was, but either way, they're both at odds right now. I have no idea. Hope you enjoyed this part of the comment subscribe. Thank you to the Sullivan Adams. I put the link down in the description. From what I tell, these guys were friends. Now they're means like they were like and it's all about your watch basically. Your watch basically turned them into this. And I think they probably would have let normalize and became friends later if they have not met your watch and Juha Box. So basically, he turned their whole lives inside out. That's all I gotta say about that. Hope you enjoyed this. Watch a comment, subscribe. Thank you. This is Sullivan Adams signing off. Bye. Your watch really likes to twist with people's feelings.